retrofish ocean generator. We finally have the demonstrator assembled. The white cylinder is a 400 watt windmill turbine generator. The black object below it is a AC-DC rectifier, which takes that and makes a DC current. The small white box is a Raspberry Pi Zero, which is the controller for the system. And the sloppy breadboard is the stepper motor controllers and power supply for the stepper motor and sensors. And off to the right, we have an iPad, which is actually sending the messages to control the device. We have the generator and stepper motors in the middle. We have two block and tackle assemblies, one on either side, and a voltmeter attached to the generator. Focusing on the right block and tackle, it consists of pulleys and lines. One line controls the block and tackle, and two lines are attached to the sails to drive the generator.
So we're talking here about ocean currents. The stronger it is, the better it is. So why are we using lines if we're talking about strong currents?
Well, I considered other systems like ropes, chains, whatever, but since we're dealing with basically what's an underwater kite, it's best controlled by some kind of rope or string. A large rope would be very hard to manage here. These blue lines are 60-pound fishing line. Each strand can support 60 pounds before it breaks or more. And they're double-stranded, so we actually are supporting 120 pounds total. That should be more than strong enough. If we move to, if we look downward from the block and tackle, we see we have a couple of scrap objects hanging on the strings. Those are just to keep tension on the strings during testing. If we go to the center, the two objects on the top row are the stepper motors, which are going to be driving the sail controls. And in the middle, the small black object is an optical encoder. When we when the sails move, the wheel spins, and the optical encoder counts the number of rotations and the distance of rotation. So we can know how far the sails have moved. All right. Now, if we focus back on the right block and tackle, when we send the command to move it, the stepper motors run, and you can see that the block moves, and if you will do it again to go down. You'll see that one weight moves while the other does not. And with them together, they move together. And if you adjust them, the sail control is pulled in, closing the sail. But when they move, they still move together from this system. So we have the stepper motors are basically the on-off switches for the sails.
So you have discussed about the parts. Where can we buy those parts?
Well, I was very careful, since this design is intended for use in the Southwest Pacific, and the Philippines is our first test site. All of these parts were ordered online or purchased in the Philippines. Every one of these can be acquired here. Nothing was brought in by hand from outside the country. And for the ultimate test, the question is, does it generate electricity? And there we have the cable spinning, and we spin back. We're actually generating 7 volts on that very slow motion. The whole idea here is that slow moving currents can generate electricity. So we saw how fast those lines moved, and we're putting out 5 volts.